It's finally happened, man. I can't fucking get it working. Today's been a fucking shit show, man.
This is a Line 6 Helix LT, one of your digital effects processor floorboards. This belongs to a friend of mine who plays in a Pink Floyd tribute act, and he's reported to me a fault with one of the Footswitches. It's no longer changing all the patches and presets on the device. So it's my job to go inside and see if we can fix it. The first thing that we need to understand about these switches is that they come in two parts. There's the mechanical assembly, which is on the outside of the device. That's the part your foot interacts with and gives you that satisfying click when it actuates. And that engages with an electronic switch, a very small tactile switch like this one that's on the circuit board. And that's what does the actual electronic switching inside the device. I have managed to determine that this is not a mechanical fault. The mechanical part of the assembly is operating as expected. This is an electronic fault, and it's something I can test with a multimeter. One of the basic functions of a digital multimeter is continuity testing. This allows us to determine if there is an electrical connection between two things that should have an electrical connection, or it lets us know if there's a short circuit against things that shouldn't. This is how it works. If there is an electrical connection between the 2 points on the multimeter probes, we will get this sound. So if I take my 2 probes and place them across the contacts of a known working switch, and I engage the switch, the multimeter beeps. That lets me know that that switch is making electrical connection. Now, let's shift over to the switch that I know to be faulty. This is the one here, so we put it across the contacts and I press the switch. The multimeter does not make any sound, which means there is no electrical connection going through that micro switch. This bottom circuit board is where all the foot switches are attached. And there's a lot of screws on here that we'll have to remove to get this off. These 4 contacts here are the electronic micro switch. These 2 screws on either side are what holds the board to the chassis. And then just underneath you can see the mechanical assembly for the foot switch. And there's 2 screws there that hold the mechanical assembly to the chassis as well. So in order to get this whole board off, we need to remove 2 screws, these 2 screws here, per switch. So I think there's 24 screws in total that need to come out. So let's get that done. Of course, make sure you're taking photographs of the circuit board, the way things are laid out before you take any screws out. That's a helpful way to have a reference when you're putting everything back together. And make sure you keep all the screws in a nice, safe location. And you may want to make note of where all the different screws came from as well, if you can remember where you took them out from. So don't just pile all the screws together and forget where they were from. Make a map, make a list, do something where you can reverse this process. With those screws out, we can lift up the bottom circuit board and get a closer look at what's happening inside here. We can see, of course, the mechanical assemblies for the switches. They're all down there and quite separate from the electronic micro switches that they engage with. This is the electronic section of the switch. We can see the tactile micro switch in the center, and that is flanked by 2 LED clusters which shine light through the illumination ring on the physical mechanical part of the foot switch. This is all on top of a white screen print so that the light reflects through, and this nice clean version is exactly what we want to be seeing from a working switch. So it should be clear to see where the damage has occurred with this foot switch. This is the one that's no longer functioning, and all this brown material around about here has come from liquid damage. Someone has poured their beer, or a dog's taken it pee, on this device. It's leaked through the mechanical foot switch into the electronic components and then corroded everything here. And this is after I've sprayed this with deoxit to try and see if these contacts will come back to life. This was even filthier the first time I opened it up. So this foot switch and these 2 LED clusters on either side of it have been corroded by whatever liquid has poured in here. So this is no longer functional. We will need to replace all 3 of these components. All 3 of these components need to be removed from the board. The tactile switch in the middle is a through-hole component, so I'll probably need to snip these legs and then clear the holes before the next switch can go in. The 2 LED clusters, they are surface mount components, so I'll be able to pull them off from this side, clear the pads, resolder them, and get the new components on top. I'm using desolder braid to try and remove as much solder from these pads as possible, which is especially important to clear the holes through the PCB for the switch contacts. The LEDs do have polarity, of course. The component has a triangular indicator on the top left, which aligns it to the symbol on the screen print of the PCB to ensure the connections are aligned to the appropriate contact points. I'm applying flux, which helps flow solder onto the contacts for the surface mount LEDs. That way I can reduce the amount of time the heated iron is near those small delicate components. And then I'm cleaning off that flux with flux remover spray and an old toothbrush. And with the probes in place, let's test for continuity on this new microswitch. Perfect. Alright, let's bring that circuit board back, reconnect the ribbon cable, like so. We're going to reconnect that ground wire and then get all the screws back in place. Alright, that's it back together, powering on, booting up, and we'll check and see if these foot switches are now fully operational. Here we are, so all of these foot switches were working appropriately, and they've got their LED around about the foot switch. B2's working, but it was B1 that wasn't functioning, so let's see, will it switch the patch and will that light come on? And it does, patch switched, that light is on now, so that foot switch is now working as intended. Job done. Well, there we are. If you are suffering from a similar foot switch issue on a Line 6 Helix, then this is how you resolve it. I'll put links to the parts that I used to fix this in the description, so you don't have to be searching around the internet trying to find the right thing. That's all for now. Keep it loud, and see you next time.